Like it
Straight
is
black and
just
white.
straight black-white, but he has no creatures in the main deck.
So I see some Battlefield Forges. Does that mean he's got a bunch of Eldrazi sitting in the sideboard?
Yeah,
oh,
Thought Knot Seer and Reality Smasher in the sideboard. So we're going to come in here. Looks like we're in the middle of game 2. Both players are 5-1. Looks like we have an Awakened 4/4 Swamp and a 2/2 is blocking the Sylvan Advocate. Sylvan Advocate's going to take care of the 4/4. Zachary Tufford is just going to replay another Sylvan Advocate. And we have a Tireless Tracker there. Looks like it's generating some advantage.
Yeah, Tireless Tracker's real good at generating advantage. If you don't kill it right away, I mean, sometimes when I play this card, I just think it's retarded because, or just like completely insane because, excuse me, it sometimes it's just like draws like 5 cards.
Well, not only that, but then it becomes like an 8-power creature, and it gives you advantage and can kill your opponent.
Yeah,
I think it's real good. I know before you kind of compared it to a Courser of Krufix type card.
Yep.
But I think in one of my articles shortly after the Pro Tour, where I really got to see how good Tireless Tracker was and how much I missed it on my radar, I think it's even close to something like Den Protector. Like just generates just an insane amount of advantage. And if you engineer game states to where even if your opponent has removal for it, you can still get value on it the turn that you play it, which is just kind of a hallmark ability from these green card advantage cards.
Yeah, well, I would definitely put in the same category as Courser of Krufix and Den Protector, but I would note that it's a bit more high variance. Sometimes you play it and they do kill it without you getting any value at all. Sometimes you play it and you're missing your land drops, so even if you do generate 1 or 2 clues, you don't have time to crack them. But sometimes you play it and they just don't kill it, and you play like 6 lands and draw 6 cards, and it's a 9-power creature, and they're, it's trading with your opponent's Atarka. I mean, that happens, and those situations, the card is just an absolute all-star.
An important aspect of it that I like to think of is those types of cards just reward you for playing Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
Sylvan Advocate does as well, but Tireless Tracker, Den Protector, Courser of Krufix, you just get rewarded for playing Magic.
Yeah, they're definitely really fair cards that are good in fair matchups. The one thing about it also that I like noting is it's a good way to punish your opponent if your opponent isn't playing very much removal. If your opponent is trying to do something a little too streamlined, like they're playing a white aggressive deck with a low number of removal spells, or even the green-white tokens deck that has a fairly low number of removal spells, this Tireless Tracker can, if you play it early, it can just utterly dominate a game. I'm a little surprised to see it stick around for so long against a white-black deck because, this is one of the premier removal decks of the format.
Yeah, I have to think that Joe probably lost the first game because of Tireless Trackers not being killed. That's one of the ways that I can see this Naya deck just winning the game.
Yeah, this Naya deck also, it presents creature and non-creature threats, and it's not super fast, but it's pretty resilient. It's pretty sticky with its threats, and I could see how things can line up in a pretty poor way for Joe. But Joe certainly has the answers he needs in the matchup. He just needs to draw them at the right time, which is always the tough part.
Well, it looks like Zachary has a copy of Chandra the Flamecaller here. He's going to plus it, get a couple 3/1 elementals. Then he's sending, I think, just the elementals at the Gideon. Joe is going to use his Westvale Abbey to make a 1/1. He's going to block both 3/1s, one with a 1/1, one with a 2/2 Gideon token. Zachary's going to pass the turn back.
Maybe not yet.
Oh, he's just going to sacrifice a clue, get a card, grow his Tireless Tracker, and then pass the turn. So they're switching out.
Yeah, let's use the good clue.
Yeah. Max worked hard to get that clue token. We're going to put it on camera here. Looks like we've got a Transgress the Mine.
Ugh, that's the worst.
Yeah, I'm just going to see another way for Zach to get advantage with that that Tireless Tracker. Here's the Kalitas, though. Doesn't really do much in terms of the tokens from Chandra going away, but it is a really good roadblock. And this Gideon emblem is going to make his creatures pretty big.
Yeah, so notably this is nice because if Joe can kill the tireless tracker, his Kalidas is going to be able to block the Sylvan Advocate. So it's kind of nice the way that lines up, and also the Westfall Abbey tokens are better, the Shambling Vents are better. I like this emblem here.
Yeah, the emblem seems very good to me. Although, if Zachary is able to, get a couple clues and sacrifice them to this tireless tracker, he can just -5 his Chandra and clear Joe's board and crash in for a lot of damage with tireless tracker.
Yeah. And with the Evolving Wilds that we know in his hand, that play is certainly an option. It can be a little scary because if Joe just draws a removal spell for the tireless tracker, Zachary might be in a tough position, but
Well, even if he doesn't draw removal spells, the Westfell Abbey can just generate a bunch of chump blockers.
yeah.
Needle Spires is going to be the find off of the Oath of Nissa. He's going to be able to get another clue for his tireless tracker. He's just going to -3 his Nissa.
And I think if I was Zachary, I probably would have played the Evolving Wilds. Like having the creature land on the board is great, but just getting an extra clue while you can also seems pretty valuable. So the Needle Spires just attacks for 4, right? Does Zachary have an emblem also?
No, but Joe's Kalidas has 3 damage on it. From the minus on the Chandra.
Okay, got it.
So if it were to block here, it would die in combat.
And it would die to first strike damage so that...
he would not gain any life.
Right. Kind of a cool play from Zachary.
Yeah, definitely a heads-up play. Lets him get in with both of his creatures. And this is threatening to do 8 points of damage if Joe doesn't want to get rid of his Kalidas.
He can block the Sylvan Advocate, gain some life, and make a token, though, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, getting the token here is real interesting.
Yeah. The token being a 3/3 is also particularly relevant because that means it can actually block the Needle Spires. If it was the normal 2/2 token, that would not be the possibility. Man, if Joe can rip a removal spell and kill that Chandra, that would be phenomenal. Grasp of Darkness wouldn't do it, so it'd have to be
he doesn't even
ultimate
need,
price.
technically he doesn't need a removal spell since he has some creature lands, the Shambling Vents. So he could just kill that Chandra now at the expense of losing either his Shambling Vents or his zombie token.
I think he would die on the crackback, though, so I think it's really needs a removal spell here. Oh, could this be Runus Path?
Oh, Sorin.
Oh, Sorin, that's good. -5? Is there a clue? There's a clue in play, so it'd have to be -6. I would probably do the -6, kill the Chandra. It's not like Zachary's going to activate both Needle Spires and kill you because you're back up to 14.
He's also going to gain 6 life.
Yeah, so he's at 14.
Which is huge.
Yeah, that was a big play.
Chandra is dead. Zach is going to cash in one of those clues and draw a card. Now he's going to take his turn. He's got a lot of lands. Let's see if he can find some action. Something like Dragonlord Atarka would be nice.
Oh yeah, yeah. A huge dragon would be great, as always. Or another Chandra.
Another Chandra's not bad.
That's great. Now, what exactly to do with it is kind of interesting because there are 2 Shambling Vents on the board. So you can't really -3 Chandra to kill the token. You can plus Chandra.
And then it's going to die on the
crackback. But it's still going to die. So without any blockers, playing this Chandra is kind of a low value play.
You could also just minus it to draw 3 cards.
Yeah. Or that's the 0, right?
Oh yeah, the 0 to draw 3 cards. Just going to make some elementals.
So if he doesn't have a blocker, All right, there we go.
So he's going to be able to flip the Nissa and make a 4/4.
Yeah. And Joe will be able to potentially kill the Nissa, but I don't think he'll be able to kill the... Actually, he can activate both Shambling Vents, so he can kill either Planeswalker, but he's going to have to probably lose a Shambling Vent in the process.
Unless he draws into a removal spell.
Yep.
There's the Aisha, the Woken World. Just going to pass the turn. Elementals are going to go away. Joe Bernal's going to draw for his turn. See if he gets some kind of action.
And you can see how difficult it is for Joe to deal with the combination, or to deal with all these Planeswalkers, but he's kind of hanging in there. This is one of the nice things about the white-black deck as opposed to the black-green deck, is the black-green deck only has Ruinous Paths. This black-white deck has Sorin and also Anguish Unmaking to deal with Planeswalkers.
Well, Joe just found a copy of Kalidas, Trader of Get, so he's going to play that and pass the turn. And now Zach gets to untap with both Chandra, Nissa, the 4/4, and a Clue on the battlefield. So he could potentially draw into a lot of cards this turn.
I feel like if I were Joe, I would have just fired up a Shambling Vent and attacked the Nissa just to kill her.
Yeah, just sacrifice your Shambling Vent to kill the Nissa.
Yeah, but it seems like Joe's a little bit more confident that he can stabilize even with that Nissa on the board and make something happen on the following turn.
Looks like the +1 on the Nissa gets a Elvish Visionary for Zachary Tufford.
Yep, the one Elvish Visionary.
Depending on what he has in his hand, it might be good here just to cash in that Clue and then zero the Chandra and draw 5 new cards.
Yeah.
He's going to play the Visionary, draw a card.
He would certainly like to answer the Kalidas somehow. That is a card that can generate a lot of value if unanswered.
Tireless Tracker. So land, get another Clue.
And what's nice about this is this Tireless Tracker is actually safe. Oh no, I was going to say it's safe from Languish, but actually Languish would still take it down. A Languish would be phenomenal on this board. If Joe could top deck one of those,
yeah,
that would be great.
Looks like Zachary used the 0 on Chandra to discard a card and draw 2 cards. Just going to pass the turn.
This is also such a tough spot for Joe because with the fact that Zachary's in the lead 1-0 and they're looking at 3 turns on the clock and Joe is on the back foot, it's going to be pretty hard for Joe to leave this match with a win.
Yeah. He is going to sacrifice his zombie on Zachary's end step to put 2 counters on that Kalidas. That is going to make it a 6/7, which is a pretty big body.
Yeah, real big.
However, Zachary does have a couple chomp blockers. Joe's just going to pass the turn back.
Joe's playing this really patient. I would be attacking Planeswalkers and trying to force some trades.
Zachary's going to sacrifice a Clue on Joe's end step, and then he's going to play an Archangel Avacyn.
Well, good on Joe for not attacking, I guess. That is not something you want to attack into.
Zachary's going to untap for his turn. He's got a lot of things that he can do this turn.
Yeah. And Zachary's basically just running away with the game. Granted, a Languish would still be a nice top deck from Joe, but Zachary is just generating more and more sources of card advantage, more and more board presence. And, it's interesting these days, a lot of times we see the creature-based mid-range decks have more card advantage than the control decks.
Well, Zachary's going to find a copy of Nahiri the Harbinger off of his Nissa +1, but he does have a Declaration in Stone to get rid of that Kalidas. Joe Bernal is just going to extend the hand.
Yeah.
Game is over. Zachary and his Naya deck looked real good there against this white-black control deck.